Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching The Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Manscaped. Before I get into some of these news, before I get into some of these rumors, I do have to give a major shout-out to today's show sponsor, March Madness. Y'all, right around the corner, and your bracket's not going to be perfect, but your balls can be. How? By going to Manscaped.com, using code Raiders, get 20% off and free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. Now, there was some stuff that happened over the past few days that I unfortunately wasn't able to cover. It was my girlfriend and I's anniversary, so I did take yesterday off. But what happened yesterday, what happened over the weekend, was some of this. The Raiders are going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Hall of Fame game at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, August 4th. When I saw this, I was like, dude, here we go. We get extra Raiders football, and I was excited about it. Now the Raiders essentially get five preseason games. The game is going to be at Tom Benson Hall, and I'm really excited that Cliff Branch, Richard Seymour, especially Cliff. I'm not trying to take anything away from Seymour, but it's about damn time that Cliff Branch gets into the Hall of Fame and the Raiders are in the Hall of Fame game. So if you're excited for more Raiders football, because I saw this, I was like, dude, that means I get to do a watch party for the Hall of Fame game. This means I get to just hang out with y'all one extra Sunday out of the year, and we get to have a good time. So if you're excited to get more Raiders football, if you're excited that Cliff Branch is finally getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, I want you to go ahead and smash that like button. Let's talk about the other thing that happened over the weekend. The Raiders, they went out and they signed Andrew Billings, and I posted on Twitter like, hey, this is a big signing, like in terms of a big human being, because Andrew Billings is a big human being, and he signed with the team on Sunday. The reason why this should at least be interesting to the nation is because as it stands right now, the Raiders have 5 free agent defensive tackles. You need to go ahead and try to find somebody that can be a plug-and-play type of dude, or maybe get some extra depth on that interior defensive line. With this move, the Raiders also went ahead and they cut Jeremiah Patazzi, but at 6'1", 328 pounds, with going to a 3-4 front, you need to be able to find somebody that you can put in and just be that extra big body. Do I think that Billings is going to end up making the 53-man roster? He might. He has a shot. However, like, this isn't like a, oh my goodness, drop everything you're doing, it's a big-time signing. No. However, since 2019, Billings has struggled maybe getting the tires back on track. He opted out because of COVID in 2020, had only 1 tackle last season for Cleveland, and bounced around in a few other areas as well. But for the Bengals a few years ago, he was at least somebody that you could put in, had a few starts underneath his belt. I believe in 47 games, he's got like 35 starts. So this is a move. However, it does not mean that Billings is going to be on the final 53-man roster. So here's your opportunity. I'll go back to school. I got asked enough, like, Mitch, what do you think about this thing, A, B, C, D, or F? It was an okay move. It's an okay move at this time of the year. However, the longer and longer we go, if we're sitting here and says, all right, Andrew Billings is a defensive tackle on the Raiders season starts, we'll see how that ends up going. As it stands right now, though, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a C grade. Keeping up with the news and rumors, I've been getting asked a lot, hey, what's going on with Derek Carr? Why haven't we gotten a contract update? Because a few weeks ago, it sounded like the Raiders and Carr, they were going to get a deal done sooner rather than later. Well, here we are sitting on later. And Derek, he recently spoke about his contract, and it sounds like he wants a contract extension. And it's not saying like, oh, I want to be paid the highest out of any quarterback. Derek, when I listened to it, it sounded like, I want to be a Raider, this is where I want to be, and whatever I got to do to make that happen, I want to be a Raider for life. So that's that. But then we also remember the old reports of Carr could potentially take a pay cut to help sign Davante Adams. I'm actually a big believer that the Raiders and Carr are waiting to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, and they're waiting to see what the Green Bay Packers do with Davante Adams, because if they don't franchise tag him, I think that makes it a little bit different for Carr. If they do franchise tag Adams, then Carr might just say, okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and take some extra money. But here's exactly what DC had to say on a contract extension. Obviously, that's in mind when I'm talking about all that. This is referring to him getting paid some like top dollar, basically $40 million a year. But there's also some football players that I want to play with, so I keep that in mind too. What I hear that is like, all right, if DC wants to play with certain guys, he also understands that this is a business. And in order to do that, you have to go out and pay some of the top players extra money. And if him taking less money means going out and getting somebody like a Davante Adams, going out and getting a top free agent, I personally believe that he is willing to do that. However, he's not going to take a super team-friendly style of deal where he's making $30 million, where he's making $35. Everything that I've heard sounds like Carr wants to be put in that upper echelon of $40 million a year for a quarterback, which I think is too much money. However, if you can go ahead and win, we'll end up seeing what happens, right? So give me a date, guys. When will the Raiders extend Derek Carr? And I want, like, either this week, next week. Are they never going to do it? When are they going to extend Derek Carr? Please go ahead and let me know. I also know this. Whenever they do extend him, or if they don't, as soon as we get notified, you guys are going to be notified. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss a thing. So Manscaped, y'all, they are introducing, and yeah, drum roll, look at these brand new graphics. I feel like God up here. Yeah, and I'm going to change some people's lives as well. The Manscaped.com Ultra Premium Collection. It is unbelievable. It's going to take care of you from your head all the way down to your toes. So the moment you step in the shower, you can use the shampoo, the conditioner, the body wash. You're feeling all good. You come out of the shower, do a little spritz of the cologne, put on some deodorant. There you go. Put on the lip balm as well. Usually it's $49.99. You can get it, though, for $39.99. All you got to do is use code RaidersWear at Manscaped.com. I'm going to say it again. Manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping on awesome male grooming products out there. I know y'all are going to absolutely love it. I know your girl's going to love it too. So go ahead. Make sure you guys are smelling great all off season. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, we're getting into some latest around Brandon Scherff, the top offensive guard in this year's free agency class, and I'm going to get into Mel Kiper's mock draft. In terms of Brandon Scherff, this guy is an absolute mauler, and there is starting to become a rumor circulating that the Raiders are linked to Scherff. He is the top offensive guard in free agency, and a lot of people might be like, well, if the Raiders go out and get Brandon Scherff, what exactly does that mean for Alex Leatherwood? If you remember, Leatherwood was drafted to be a right tackle. They put him at right guard. Scherff is the best offensive guard, but he plays right guard. I personally believe if you have the opportunity to go out and get Scherff, you put him at right guard, you then throw Alex Leatherwood over to left guard, who actually played some left guard at Alabama. They moved him all over the football field, and the thing that Alex Leatherwood said when he was drafted and he took his tour at Allegiant Stadium, I don't care where the Raiders put me, I just want to be on the Raiders. So that was a really cool thing that he went out and said. In terms of Scherff last season, he played in 11 games, didn't allow a single sack, and when you talk about the ability to go out and get him, I would personally say he could get 14, maybe $15 million in free agency with the cap going up. If you remember Joe Tooney, he signed a 5-year, $80 million. He's the highest paid offensive guard in football, which is what, $16 million per year. I don't think Scherff will get that much because of some other things going on, short-term deal, but he could end up getting like 14, 15 because of some injuries. Last season, 73.6 overall PFF grade, an 84.1 back in 2020. If you're in the 80s, I mean, that's just absolutely elite. Last season did battle some injuries, but when he was fully healthy, he can be that elite guard. He's a mauler when it comes to the run blocking. He's a mauler when it comes to the pass. And if you want to be this team that runs 2 tight end sets, that wants to pound the ball with Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, take some pressure off Derek Carr, Brandon Scherff's that dude, y'all. So what do you think? Should the Raiders go out and sign Brandon Scherff? Y for yes or N for no? Remember, though, if you're going to go out and make this type of move, that then takes money away from your right tackle position. It takes money away from wide receiver. It does take certain things away. So if you want to go out and get Scherff, you better be prepared to pay him $14, $15 million a year. So Y for yes or N for no? Now, y'all, we're getting ready to go into a Mel Kiper mock draft. I'm going to go through picks 1 all the way through 21 and let you know who Mel thought the Raiders should end up taking. But before I do, if you're trying to stay up to date on all things going on with the Raiders, whether that's free agency, draft, trades, I got you covered. The Raiders Report is 100% free, and I think we're at like 109,000 subs now, so we're continuing to grow. We continue to give you guys that content. I know there's a lot of other YouTube channels out there, so never forget that I take you all for granted. I know that you come to our shows, you expect to have a good time. I have a good time, and the more people we get to this party, the more wild it can get. So make sure you tell your friends to subscribe as well. All right, y'all, let's go through all these picks. 1 through, 21 is what it is? Yeah, 1 through 21 in Mel Kiper's latest mock. I thought this was interesting. Ikem Ekwonu, I mean, that was really, really surprising me that he ended up going number 1. There were a few trades in this mock early on, so the Cleveland Browns at 13 traded up to number 9 with the Denver Broncos. They went ahead and they selected Drake London, so that's what this trade is here. Usually, this is the Broncos pick. The Broncos then ended up taking Jermaine Johnson, who continues to shoot up draft boards. Kenny Pickett, first quarterback off the board. There was another trade that ended up going down. If you can see here, Garrett Wilson, the Saints, they went ahead. They wanted to get their wide receiver. This is usually the Baltimore Ravens pick, who went ahead and took Trevor Penning, which is starting to become one of my favorite right tackle. He's my favorite right tackle prospect in the draft. Continues to be one of my favorite overall prospects, though. And then at number 20 was Malik Willis. At number 21 was the edge rusher from Penn State. And then at number 22, the Las Vegas Raiders. So what I want you guys to do right now, take a screenshot of this right here. All good, right? Take a screenshot. Bang. And I want you to put it on Instagram. And I want you to tag me at MitchellRenz365. And I want to know, who would you take at 22? Who's the player that you're just like, man, I hope he's available at pick number 22? Because when I looked at Mel Kiper's mock, I thought, okay, here's my big board. Here's the needs. Here's how I would break it on down. So for me, it was 4 player names that I personally would consider if I was in that war room. I would personally consider if I was McDaniels, if I was Dave Ziegler, and it's these 4 names here. Obviously, though, some of y'all might not like these 4 names, so that's why I included other as well. It was Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia, Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State, Andrew Booth, the cornerback from Clemson, Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle from Georgia, or there was somebody else. So out of the people that you see on screen, who would you take at 22? Type ND for Nakobe Dean, CO for Chris Olave, AB for Andrew Booth, JD for Jordan Davis, or you can type O for other. With the 22nd pick in Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, he went ahead and took Georgia linebacker Nakobe Dean. Now, I like Nakobe Dean a lot. He is the definition of what I think of a sideline-to-sideline linebacker should look like when you come out of college. He had 72 tackles last year, won a national championship, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 5 pass breakups. I mean, this kid can do it all. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say on why the Raiders should go out and draft Nakobe Dean at pick number 22. The Raiders have a new regime under coach Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler, and they have a clear void in the middle of their defense. If Dean is still available at 22, this is a no-brainer. His coaches at Georgia rave about his leadership skills, and he's a dominant off-ball linebacker on the field, too. He stuffed the stat sheet with 72 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 picks last season. So what I want you guys to do is now get in the comments, rate the pick of Nakobe Dean at 22. Scale it from 0 all the way up to 100. If the Raiders, let's say, move on from Corey Littleton, let's say they move on from Nick Kwiatkowski, or if that's at least the plan, then I like this pick a lot more. However, if you have Denzel Perryman, Nakobe Dean, throw in a little Divine Diablo, maybe they convert Jonathan Abram to a linebacker, this linebacking unit gets a lot more interesting. So a few weeks ago, this was a similar mock draft. I gave it a 70. The more and more tape I start to watch on Nakobe Dean, the more and more I start to like him. So I'm going to go from 70, and now I'm going to bump that up to an 80.